a moral aspiration. It is a political project. It depends on states with the vision, legitimacy and power to shape global norms. Resist fragmentation, build institutions capable of delivering real and lasting justice. So, as I end, is the current global governance order in need of restructuring? Does it need to be dismantled completely and a new order established? Or do we let the current order exist and new alternative structures established? These are some of the... Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi. Respected and distinguished participants, Alhamdulillah, we have heard a lot of speeches by leaders and participants in this program so far. My point today is basically following through what one of our panelists was saying this morning. We want action plan. There's enough of rhetorical speech. We want action plan. And I'm following through the suggestion from the Amir of Jamaat Islami Pakistan this morning. He proposed Pakistan to be the umbrella office and the country host, the host country to all the activities of the Islamic movement throughout the world. Can we give a full support to this suggestion, my dear brothers? Inshallah. I want to see a show of hands of support, please. Alhamdulillah. So we can have Pakistan as the center to coordinate all the activities that we are going to have in the future. My dear brothers, what we are seeing today has been continuously being reminded by our leaders. We are seeing the vast changing pattern of the geopolitics, the bankruptcy of the global order. We are seeing that the international structure and institution has collapsed. Now, for us, among those who are working in the Islamic movement and giving their life for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should be together in bringing into reality what is being proposed by the Amir of Jamaat Islami Pakistan. Inshallah, we from Malaysia will give our full support and coordination to this suggestion of the Amir of Jamaat Islami Pakistan. Wallahu alam. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Azman. In short time, you have made the central point of this conference. Thank you so much.
I now call on Dr. Zahid Parvez to make his input.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I just want to emphasize again what Dr. Sayyid Azman has iterated. There are three things I want to propose as the next step forward. I would propose three things. The first thing is, we know what the problem is. We have very good ideas on the solutions. So the next three immediate steps, which I feel will help us to move forward on this agenda. The first is what the Amir of Jamaat-e-Islami proposed this morning, that we need to work towards this global cooperation. Now, can I emphasize the importance of this? When I was young, I was taught at a very early age that power only respects power. So the first point is, for any positive change, those who want to see a just world order, they have no option but to come forward and join hands through alliances, coalitions, cooperation. What is power? Power is organized people. Power is organized resources. Power is organized ideas. When people of justice, when people of goodwill, they come forward and they join hands, they can develop very powerful alternatives, very powerful alternative narratives. They can present powerful ideas to convince and shape public opinion. They can collect data on the injustices that are taking place and the impact these injustices are having on the world. They can also change world opinion. To make the voice of the oppressed people heard requires people of goodwill to come forward, organize themselves, and develop a global movement that will strive for reforms and restructuring of global institutions to show that they are more democratic, they are more just, and all the stakeholders who are impacted by the decisions have a voice. So this is the first step, is that we must find ways to come forward on some kind of united platform. The second step is, once we come together, these globally organized people, must then work to change the dominant mindset. A mindset that shifts from a paradigm of domination a paradigm of domination to the one of shared peace through justice. A new mindset must be created that believes choosing cooperation over conflict is not merely a luxury, a moral luxury. It is the most strategic, economically rational and sustainable path for any nation's long-term security and prosperity of all people. A new mindset must be created that understands that injustice does not benefit. The whole of human history is a witness to this. We have seen pharaohs come and go. So injustices do not benefit anyone. The only way forward is cooperation and justice for all people. And this will happen through developing a new mindset, which will create alternative narratives, ideas, and systems for building a better, just, and sustainable world. And my final point is that once people come together, we start changing mindsets through our research institutions and think tanks and the use of media. So from changing the mindset, the globally organized people will need to formulate and articulate a totally new vision for humanity that will take the world along a new path. The new vision will not merely be about reforming existing global and national systems and institutions, but the new vision will be to redefine the moral and philosophical foundations of global governance. A new vision of a sustainable for all people based on economic, social, and ecological justice. A new vision that places unity and the stewardship of our planet at the very, very core of the socio-political project to ensure the well-being of all people and a sustainable future of our world. So once we take these 3 steps, we come together, we build a powerful coalition, great minds and thinkers and our resources come together, then we start working, changing mindsets and the world opinion. Then you will see how the powerful people will be compelled to listen and to be open to changes. And then once we create a new vision, which will be a new hope for humanity, the whole of humanity will start moving in that direction. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you, Dr. Pervez. I now call on Sheikh Munir Saeed for his reflections. I can't see him.
I think Ustaz Munir Saeed is not here.
Oh, okay. Sheikh Said, you have 5 minutes for your input.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. حياكم الله جميعا في هذا الاجتماع الذي يضم نخبة من خيار أبناء الأمة العاملين لنهضتها ووحدتها. وكما تعلمون أننا بفضل الله تعالى رأينا اجتماع ووحدة صف الأمة من خلال المؤتمر الحاشد الذي كان أول أمس، والذي رأينا فيه كل المتحدثين يتحدثون بنفس واحد وبقضية واحدة: كيف ننهض بأمتنا وكيف نكون أمة واحدة بعد أن توحدنا من أجل القضية الجامعة اليوم، وهي قضية الأقصى، والتي خضنا معركة طويلة فيها، هي معركة طوفان الأقصى، والذي ما زالت ارتداداته وموجاته تتوالى. وبالتأكيد هذه المعركة التي تقدم فيها شعبنا الفلسطيني وخاصة في غزة بمجاهديه أعطتنا بشارات وأمل كبير لأن نكون في المكان المناسب في استثمار ما جرى. الذي جرى يمثل نقلة كبيرة بالنسبة لنا كأمة كنا نفتقدها. اليوم بالتأكيد نحن أمام تحدي كبير هو المتعلق بالوعي، وأن نكون في مرحلة النصر والتحرير القادم الذي نستبشر به جميعا في أتم الاستعداد، ليس فقط نحن كنخب وكحركات إسلامية، وإنما أيضا شعوبنا. بالتأكيد شعوبنا إذا كانت تستحق النصر فكما نرى نحتاج إلى جهد كبير من أجل أن نحقق معاني وقيم ومستلزمات النصر. فنصر الله عز وجل شرط لتحقيق نصر الله وتنزله علينا. والأمر الثاني أننا أيضا إضافة لمعركة الوعي التي نحتاج أن نعيشها تتطلب بالتأكيد معرفة العدو من الصديق، وهذا فيه اختلال كبير. كما تلاحظوا أن العدو اليوم يحاول خلط المفاهيم والعودة من جديد إلى ما يسمى بالتطبيع أو الإبراهيمية، وهذا تحدي كبير علينا أن نواجهه، لأنه يتناقض مع حقيقة أننا أمة واحدة وأننا نؤمن بدين واحد هو الإسلام العظيم. والإبراهيمية التي يدعون هي خلط واختلال كبير في عقيدتنا وفي مفاهيمنا وقيمنا. لا يمكن أن نؤمن إلا بالإسلام العظيم، وبالتالي علينا أن نقف صفا واحدا ضد أي توجهات نحو التطبيع ونحو الإبراهيمية بأي اسم كان. وهذا يتطلب جهدا كبيرا بالذات منا كحركات إسلامية لمواجهة القادم، لأنه العدو الذي دعمه الغرب بكل إمكاناته بأسباب القوة العسكرية يريد أن يعفي على آثار الإبادة الجماعية التي قام بها الصهاينة، وهذا يحتاج إلى جهد منا في مواجهته وإفشاله إن شاء الله. ثم بالتأكيد نحن جمعتنا الميادين خلال السنتين الماضيتين، وهذا كان فتح كبير للأمة، أن كل أبناء الأمة بكل اتجاهاتها بل كل أحرار العالم وقفوا معنا في هذه المعركة، مطلوب المواصلة فيه واستثماره لتحويله إلى مبادرات وإلى عمل دائم في النصرة وفي أن نقف كلنا إن شاء الله في وجه الاستبداد والصهيونية العالمية، والتي ندرك أنها تتهاوى في عقر دارها، فضلا عن الذين صنعوها ينفضون عنها اليوم. لذلك نحن مطمئنون، ولكن علينا أن نوحد جهودنا في الميدان وفي التخطيط. وأنا أثمن الحقيقة جهد إخواني في الجماعة الإسلامية على هذه المبادرة الطيبة التي جمعوا فيها الأمة وجمعوا فيها العاملين والنشطاء، ونأمل إن شاء الله من كل إخواننا وشركائنا في العالم الإسلامي أن يبادروا بمثل هذا الجهد من أجل أن يتكامل العمل ونبقى على تواصل حتى نحقق المطلوب والمأمول. أخيرا ألفت نظري، أنا اليوم كنت في يعني لقاء مع إخواني في الخدمة، ورأيت الحقيقة عملا مميزا لإخواننا في الجماعة الإسلامية من خلال هذه المؤسسة الرائدة، وأنا أتمنى أن يكون الكل منا يقتدي بها ويتعاون معها، لأنها نموذج فذ في مجالات مختلفة. إن شاء الله نكون جميعا سندا لها واستثمارا لجهدها في بلادنا، وخاصة في العالم الإسلامي الذي فيه الحاجة كبيرة. في معظم بلاد أفريقيا وفي بعض البلاد الآسيوية المسلمون يحتاجون إلى جهد. بالتأكيد دورهم في غزة كبير ومتواصل وإن شاء الله يتعزز، ولكن أيضا نريد أن يكون الدور العالمي مشترك، لنكون مؤسسة تنافس وتضاهي المؤسسات العالمية حيث سبقنا الغرب فيها. ولكن كما تعلمون اليوم انكفأ الأمريكان من الدعم والعمل الإنساني. نريد أن إن شاء الله نعوض نحن كمسلمين هذا الدور، ولعل الباكستان تكون طليعة كما حال الكثير من الدول. أتمنى أن تتعزز جهود العمل الخيري والإغاثي لفلسطين ولقضايا الأمة المختلفة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام. Shukran, Sheikh. I now call on Sheikh Azam Ayubi for his reflections.
Thank you. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. إخواني الأحبة، يعني أعتذر لهذه المداخلة، قد تكون باتجاه مغاير نوعا ما. أجد أننا فيما يتعلق بالعنوان الذي نطرحه هو تغيير أو البحث عن نظام عالمي جديد أكثر عدلا، يحتاج منا إلى تحديد الأدوات التي تستطيع أن تحدث تغييرا في هذا الاتجاه. وهذه الأدوات لا يمكن أن تكون حصرا في الحركات التي تمثل نبض الشعب، وإن كانت هي جزء أساسي. لكن هذا الأمر بصراحة إن كان حقا نريد إحداث تغيير، فعلينا أن نتوجه باتجاه الحكومات التي ندرك جميعا أنها لا تمثلنا تمثيلا حقيقيا فيما نتطلع إليه في موضوع النظام العالمي. لذلك هذه القضية، وخاصة نحن كحركات إسلامية، أنا أفترض بأن هناك أسئلة واضحة وصريحة ومباشرة يجب علينا أن نسألها لأنفسنا وأن نجد لها أجوبة واضحة وصريحة. اليوم الأنظمة التي تمثلنا كعالم إسلامي بصراحة تنقسم إلى مجموعة أقسام: إما ناس سيئون بالأصالة لا يمكن تغييرهم، وإما أناس سيئون نتيجة سوء تقديرهم للمصالح والمفاسد فيما يتعلق بدولهم وشعوبهم، وأناس قد يكونوا ضعفاء ومترددون. القضية التي نحتاج أن نذهب إليها: هل منافستنا مع هذه الأنظمة فيما لو تم بناء قاعدة تفاهم فيما بيننا وبينهم على تحديد أولويات تتعلق بالنظام العالمي القائم والذي نشكو منه جميعا، يمكن أن تغير في بعض مساراتهم؟ أنا أظن أن هذا السؤال يستحق أن نسأله لأنفسنا كحركات إسلامية. وبالتالي الحكومات أو الأنظمة التي يمكن أن تغير من مسارها السيء نتيجة أننا لا ننافسها على الحكم في هذه الفترة، من أجل أن يتم التركيز بيننا وبينهم جميعا على تغيير هذا النظام الظالم العالمي الذي نتأذى منه جميعا، فهذه قضية تستحق النظر، وهي من الناحية الشرعية مطلوبة، لأن الأولوية تصبح للظلم العام الذي يطال الجميع. النقطة الثانية: أننا كحركات إسلامية للأسف الشديد في كثير من الأماكن والمواضع نتصرف وكأننا حالة منعزلة عن بقية المكونات. وفي هذه النقطة التي نتحدث عنها في هذا المؤتمر الممتاز، قضية لا تحتمل أن نكون في هذه الدائرة المغلقة. القضية تحتاج إلى انفتاح أكبر وقاعدة تعاون أكبر على مستوى المكونات الوطنية التي نتشارك معها. وقضية أخرى لا تقل أهمية هي أن الإسلاميين على وجه التحديد الذين يتصدرون العالم في حمل هذه القيم ودفع الأثمان الغالية لها أن يمدوا أيديهم إلى من هم خارج دائرة المسلمين أيضا. وهناك الكثيرون من هؤلاء من يشاركوننا في دفع الأثمان الكبيرة نتيجة هذا الظلم. وأظن أن عدد من الكلمات أشارت إلى ضرورة الالتفات إلى دول الجنوب التي تعتبر من المتضررين من هذا النظام العالمي البائس. إخواني الكرام، أنا أظن أننا إن جعلنا من هذا الملتقى نقطة الانتقال إلى حوار حقيقي يتوصل إلى امتلاك أدوات التأثير الحقيقي في النظام العالمي، ونحن لسنا في هذا الإطار ترى يعني خالي الوفاض. العالم الإسلامي عالم يشكل وزنا كبيرا فيما يتعلق بالقوى والتوازنات على مستوى العالم، لكن هذه أوراق القوة هذه مبددة، بل وجزء منها للأسف الشديد في خدمة النظام العالمي البائس. لذلك أظن أن هناك أسئلة حرجة ينبغي أن نضعها أمامنا وأن نجيب عليها، لعلنا نستطيع أن نغير، وإلا فنحن سنكون مشاركين في إطالة عمر هذا النظام الظالم. والله تعالى أعلم، وشكرا جزيلا لكم.
Shukran, Sheikh Ayubi. I now call on Jamal Zimo for his short comments.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Mr. Qazi Lukman, thank you for inviting me to this panel and discussion. I'm from Montenegro. Montenegro is a small country in Europe, in Balkan countries, Balkan Peninsula. And we representing about 25% of Muslim of whole population. Regarding this very important conference, Quest for a Just Global Order, we must to ask ourselves, does we as Muslim nations, as Muslim Ummah, are prepared for a new global order? I think that we are not, because there is so many injustice in our own countries, in Muslim countries, in Muslim governments, and in Muslim societies as whole. So we, first of all, spoiled the concept, Islamic concept of Khilafah, or Caliph concepts, by our extremist groups that were in so many countries, Arabic or non-Arabic countries. And after that, we are continuing to be a partner in unjust world. So I think that we are not, as Muslim communities, as Muslim countries, prepared for a new global order, which will be more just than it is now. So there is some main obstacles that are on the road for a just global order. First of all is also unity of Muslim leaders. Finally, we find out the unity of the Gaza issue and Gaza genocide, where the Muslim leaders are gathered at the UN Assembly and get with the ceasefire, which is not really ceasefire. It's only a new shape of genocide. And we see just a little bit progress on this peacekeeping. Also, we are, as Muslim countries, pure. We are, in our countries, poverty, illiteracy. So we have so many issues to resolve, to speak about it in our own countries, in order to give the good results to all people and to all the world. So I think that we have to make our priorities as Muslim leaders, as Muslims countries, and to go on that path, to go to doing a better world together. I don't want to speak more because of the time and to get the chance to other speakers to speak. I finally want to thank again all those participants and organizers for inviting me, and I wish you all the best. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khair al-jaza.
Thank you, Jamal. I think this is the important point in this session, is the question and answers. I think let's set some ground rules. If you have a question, keep it at 30 seconds. If you have a comment, keep it at 1 minute. I think let's take it as a given that Gaza is still the issue, that we understand that there is discrimination and disequilibrium in the world governance system. The idea behind this session is to find some practical ideas. And I want to bring you back to the topic. It's about restructuring global governance. It is a very specific topic. So if you have a comment, if you have a question, please confine it to that, the topic. If you do believe that a colleague or someone before you has covered your comment or question, please allow the next person to go on. If you have a question or comment, please raise your hand. I will then recognize you. Thank you. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. First of all, jazakumullah khair for all the wonderful comments and speeches. Is that clear? Can you hear me? Just in reference to the actual topic, my name is Dr. Abdul Hamid Jibril from Australia. In reference to the actual topic and some of the comments that have been highlighted very quickly, what is clear is that the traditional structures are no longer tenable. So the traditional structures of whether governance, institutions are no longer useful. So in reference to the Mufti of Montenegro, that we have a lot of obstacles, yes, but I also think that we have a lot of opportunities. There are opportunities. So where, for example, the state is the enemy, let the people align. We align with like-minded people. Where we are prevented from getting the message across through traditional media, Allah has given us social media. So let us find a way. And I think that the playing field is actually a lot more level than we think, especially with the youth. Especially with the youth. Gaza has been that eye-opener for a lot of people, where the narrative was being controlled by traditional structures, but they failed because the youth refused to accept the governing narrative and went around finding their own information. And this is what we found. In Australia, despite what the government was trying to do, what the media was trying to do, over 350,000 people marched over the bridge. We protested every Sunday, despite the threats and intimidation. And 99% of those people were not Muslims. Were not Muslims. So the possibility is there, inshallah, for us to bypass these traditional structures.
Thank you, brother. I just want to re-emphasize. Let us put some ideas on the table about how do we mobilize communities, citizens, populations, interest groups, stakeholders, NGOs, youth. How do we mobilize all these groups towards restructuring the existing frameworks, whether it's at the UN, climate change, or any of these organizations. So let us put on the table some practical ideas, because these ideas feed into what we hope would be the Lahore Declaration. So, I mean, it's okay for us to speak in general realities, but let us be more specific. Thank you. I now call on Dr. Marwan from Palestine to make an input.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. شكرا لكم، شكرا للجماعة الإسلامية في باكستان، جزاكم الله خيرا على هذا المؤتمر المهم الفعال. الحقيقة هذا الموضوع في غاية الأهمية، وهو يلزمنا كثيرا نحن في فلسطين، في غزة على وجه الخصوص، لأننا نكتوي بنار حامية الوطيس، نكتوي بنار الغرب الذي رفع شعارات ثم قفز عنها بطريقة إجرامية شريكة مع الاحتلال مع الأسف الشديد. الغرب أعلن قوانين دولية، لكن الغرب لم يلتزم بها مع الأسف. الغرب الذي يزعم أنه يقود الحضارة العالمية يخسر كثيراً في هذا العصر بسبب غزة وفلسطين، يخسر مصداقيته في حقوق الإنسان وحقوق الطفل وحقوق المرأة والحق في الحياة والحق في السفر والحق في السكن والحق في العلاج والحق في اختيار من يحكمه. في كل هذه العناوين وفي غيرها رسب الغرب رسوباً مدوياً، مما أصبح يعني وسيلة من وسائل تقوية الاحتلال وزيادة جرائمه في دعمه بكل أدوات القتل. سأقترح مقترحات عملية كما تفضل الأستاذ بارك الله فيه. من بين المقترحات العملية التي أراها مهمة جدا أن تخرج من هذا المؤتمر المهم جدا كذلك، وأنه يجب تفعيل المحاكم المحلية لمحاكمة مجرمي الحرب ومحاكمة داعميه، وهذا أمر ضروري. ولو كانت هذه القرارات التي ستصدر بالإدانة لن تجد لها طريقة تنفيذ، لكنها يجب أن تصدر قرارات بالإدانة. يجب أن يزاحم الغرب، يجب أن يزاحم المسلمون الغرب في قيادة المؤسسات الدولية. قدر المستطاع ندرس كيف يمكن أن نزاحم الغرب في قيادة المؤسسات الحقوقية والقانونية، ولماذا نبقى نحن نعاني منها ولا نكون على رأسها كمسلمين. يجب العمل المنسق بين الدول الإسلامية والحرة من أجل التغيير في عضوية هذه المؤسسات ما أمكن. أيضاً أقترح أنه يتم تأسيس مؤسسات لمحاكمة ظلم الحضارة وانحرافها عن القواعد التي وضعتها لتسود وتقود العالم ليصبح عادلاً. لا يجوز أن نبقى مستسلمين للأمر الواقع. نحن مسلمون وعندنا قواعدنا وعندنا أدواتنا، لماذا نبقى نخضع لقواعد لم يلتزم بها حتى من وضعوها؟ يجب أن تؤسس كما أرى، يعني ليس الكلمة يجب على سبيل الإلزام وإنما على سبيل المقترح. أقترح أن تؤسس مؤسسات توعوية للتحذير من الانخداع بشعارات الغرب الجوفاء. شبابنا وفتياتنا مخدوعون الحضارة الغربية، الكل يتطلع على أنها منقذة للبشرية، والحقيقة أنها العكس، أنها تورط البشرية في بحور من الدماء. كذلك أقترح أن تقوم الحركات الإسلامية بالقدر المسموح بتأسيس مؤسسات حقوقية تبني قوانينها على القوانين الدولية ما لم تتعارض مع أحكام الشريعة الإسلامية. أيضا هذه مقترحات مهمة. كذلك أقترح في النهاية، وهذا اقتراح أراه مهما وضروريا، أن يخرج هذا المؤتمر بقرارات عملية قدر المستطاع. وأقترح كذلك بأن تؤسس لجنة تنسيقية من مختلف الدول من هذا التجمع الحركي المهم الدولي أن يخرج من هذا المؤتمر لجنة تنسيقية لتقوم بدراسة مخرجات هذا المؤتمر والعمل على تطبيقها والتواصل مع إدارة المؤتمر حتى يكون هناك مراجعة لها في الملتقى القادم والمؤتمر القادم من أجل دراسة نسبة النجاح في تحقيق مخرجات هذا المؤتمر. شكرا لكم، جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم.
Shukran, Doctor. Any more questions, comments? I don't see any hands. So we've done good time. I will now hand over back to Dr. Luqman.
Is there a comment or question from the women's side? Okay, Sister Fatima Hendricks.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Mine is not a comment, but it's a contribution, and I'm going to take the liberty of being longer because there are two women at this table, so I trust that you will indulge me. I'd like for us to bring some participatory sense-making to this table. And what I mean by that is that we speak about the global majority, not recognizing that the global majority are also women, and the global majority are also young people. So this room cannot look like this. This room needs to be a space of participatory sense-making. And therefore, when proposals are put on the table for us to move forward, I'm deeply, deeply reluctant to put my hand up. And the reason I'm saying that is because women have to be at this table, not because we have gone shopping, not because we are add-ons, but we are viable contributors, organizers, mobilizers, and we are at this table because of the work that we do. We have two hands of this world. We have men and women, and we are wondering what got us here. What got us here is that we are trying to clap, and we're trying to clap with one hand. And until we clap with two hands, our actions will continue not to bear fruits in the way that we like. We speak about new thinking. Where is our agility? How many people in this room are less than 40 years old? How many women are at one? Subhanallah, Allah bless you. One. How many women at this table? We need the shuja to speak up in these spaces. We need shuja, courage that will move us forward, my brothers and sisters. We need shuja that will speak truth to power. And I'm asking you here to listen and to bear with me as I make a proposal about how we can move forward practically. There are two things that I ask this floor to do. The first one is that half of this room needs to be filled with women and young people. And that's a proposal that is practical, pragmatic, and can move forward. Number two, I ask about the conceptualization of justice, about compound justice, because what we've heard us talk about today is about recognitional justice, right? Of the misrecognition and the non-recognition of indigenous people. We've also heard this morning about distributive justice, about how imperialism and colonialism have really not, have extracted our material resources. We've heard about institutional injustice, where the institutions that are meant to protect us, like the UN Security Council, which is meant to be equal institutionally, but is unequal in voting rights. How do we prevent us from replicating these kind of mechanisms in the work that we are doing? The ICJ, yes, everyone's speaking about the ICJ, but at the core of it, has an inability to implement international criminal law, to challenge power inequalities and address these structural injustices at its core. historic injustice, which is really about how these constructions of these sovereign states have resulted in the multiple injustices we are seeing here, using mechanisms of ethnic cleansing, the genocides, and the slavery. We're talking about epistemic injustice, about how knowledge and history is experienced, taught, and remembered, and memorialized. And the last one in this construction and conceptualization is about intergenerational injustice, because this is really about what has been bequested from the past, because we are here because we brought us here, right? So the question is, what are we leaving? What promises have been made from the past? What obligations have been made from the past? And where and what are we going to do to move us forward? So the second practical point that I have, building on this conceptualization of compound justice, has for us to be thinking in terms of whole systems thinking, about how these, this interconnectedness that we're speaking about today can be used to move us forward with synergy, rather than just addressing these symptoms that we speak so much about. And this really means that there's a lot of introspection. And I'm asking these hard questions from a place of deep concern. And I encourage us to really introspect on this deeply, deeply, my sisters and brothers. It is what is going to move us forward in agility, in creative thinking, for all of the peoples of this world, for all of the peoples of this world. Thank you for your indulgence. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Sister Fatima Hendricks, and your points are well taken. Regarding youth, I can assure you there are separate forums, and next month there is going to be a youth conference as well. I can assure you, you will not see anyone above 40 in that conference. It will be all youth, a similar conference, and it will be a diversified international conference, inshallah. Your point on gender is well taken, and I agree with you. And we will be more sensitive about this issue in the events to come, inshallah.
Thank you.
So, should we move on to...
I see one... sorry, Doctor.
Yes,
how much time do we have?
I think the time of this panel is finished.
Yeah.
But if there
we'll take one last question or comment from... Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I won't take much long, but since I'm a minority in many aspects, coming from Europe, Macedonia, Balkans, and I'm the youngest one, as the sister mentioned, I would just like to give 3 things as practical ideas. Number 1 would be to transform mourning into hope. Number 2 would be to have clear long-term vision. And number 3 would be to guarantee the world that we give them justice, stability, and peace. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you, brother from Macedonia. I will conclude by just making some brief comments. I think it's very instructive that we have all agreed that the current existing order needs to change. How that change is going to happen is going to be left to individuals and the countries from which they come from. As I said in my opening remarks, the reality is this, and which the Sheikh alluded to. If you do not have state power, if you're on the margins of power, for you to instrumentalize change is going to be a difficult road to embark on. if you need to change the situation in which you are at, it means that you have to get to the centers of power within your country and globally. Because if you are not at the center of power, you will not be able to effect change. So through your NGOs, through your community organizations, through community mobilizations, youth, women, every type of pressure lobby group has to be present at the table where government policies are being made. Without that, as they say, there's a saying, turkeys don't vote for Christmas. No one is going to change the situation because it is in their own interest for the situation to carry on. So I hope that this has been a useful exercise, and thank you for your attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Brother Faisal Dawji. So now we move on to our next panel, which will be chaired by Dr. Badli Shah Sham, who is from Malaysia. The other speakers are Dr. Hilmi Al-Jazar from Egypt, Dr. Muhammad Hussein Isa from Somalia, and the commentators are Mr. Ismail Ibrahim from Philippines, Mr. Amin Hassan Omar from Sudan, and Dr. Aus Ramal from Morocco. So it's over to you, Mr. Badli Shah Sham.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. To Dr. Asif Lokman, distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I've been asked to become the head of the panel for moral and spiritual foundations of a just world. I would just start off with a bit of some elaboration on this topic, and then I will invite the speakers which have been designed and which have been designated for this panel to speak on this topic. Now we all know, and we have listened from the speeches this morning, and also the speeches just now, a just global system must rest on certain principles. And those moral principles are like justice, dignity, and equality. And the spiritual principles or values such as compassion, unity, and respect for human life. These foundations ensure that governance, economics, and culture of the world serve humanity rather than domination by an elite group or a privileged minority. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, I also would like to propose some practical applications in this. I would like to suggest that because of the implication of moral and spiritual foundations for a just society, we need to build institutions based on values, like, for example, inclusivity, sustainability, and also cooperation. I would like to suggest that whoever is assigned or whoever is entrusted with the job of putting together the resolutions of this conference and moving forward to build a charter for a just world, encompassing the moral and spiritual foundations, which can be endorsed by the global South, and then can form the basis of a global movement for a just world. We need that global movement. Now we need to create an inclusive global movement because it must include non-Muslims. We cannot just include only Muslims. We have to include also the youth and the women, as has been pointed out by the sister just now. And we need this global movement to stress the need to raise awareness of injustices and nurture appreciation for alternative, fairer systems and also stressing on the values to build civilizations. Ibn Khaldun argued that the foundational values for building and sustaining a civilization revolve around social cohesion. He called it asobiyah, but it's not the meaning of the narrow meaning of asobiyah like kinship or tribalship, but rather asobiyah meaning based on shared purpose. And he also mentioned that not only you need social cohesion, but you also need a strong moral and religious compass, which together then can foster justice, economic prosperity, and good governance and leadership. My dear brothers and sisters, I would like to say that we must invest in the youth. The youth are the future generation. You look at what happened in Nepal and Bangladesh recently. The youth took to the streets. The youth, in the end, they culminated in a change in society. The youth, you must invest in the youth. Look what happened to Mamdani in New York. He brought out issues which have been embraced by the youth and also the people of New York. The Jewish organizations, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to demonize Mamdani, saying that he's a jihadist. He's not he's not fit to become a New York mayor, but still he won. That means people power can change things. Don't underestimate people power, my dear brothers and sisters. So therefore, we need to, stress on the values and invest in the youth and build this people power, especially the Gen Z. The Gen Z, they are very much, IT savvy. They're very much in tune with all these social media like TikTok and so on. Probably like the sister mentioned, when I look around this room, you can see, the average age of the people in this room is skewed towards probably the later part of the generation age. But these people are valuable people as well. We cannot disrespect the older generation. They have got wisdom, they have got experience. Hikmatu shuyukh, wahamasatu shabab. We have to combine this, the wisdom of the old and the vigor and the spirit of the youth. This combination, inshallah, will bring about a great change in society and also nations. So therefore, we have to change. In Gen Z, we have to go to social media. We cannot, anyway, whether we realize it or not. Facebook is no longer used by the Gen Z. Facebook is only used by people like us. They use other than Facebook. They use Instagram, they use TikTok, and so on. So we need to invest in technology as well. And as Brother Azam mentioned just now, you need to advocate to the governments as well. The people who make real change are the governments. So as I think Faisal, the previous head of the panel, the first panel, mentioned that we have to engage and dialogue with our governments. We need them to change. We need to be able to influence national policies, national thinking, national direction. And we need to do that. So that means in order to do that, we have to be in the center stage. We cannot be at the periphery. We have to be on center stage. We have to speak out. We have to bring solutions to the problems in our countries. I know that poverty, for instance, is a problem in many Muslim countries. But what do we do about it? What are the solutions? What are the approaches? Urban and rural poverty. We need to come up with solutions, my dear brothers and sisters. Then we can become center stage. People will listen to us. People will look up at us. So therefore, this is something that we need to really move one of the way forward that we need to do. And then we also need to do interfaith dialogue. As I said, we need non-Muslims in this global movement. Interfaith dialogue, we need to create conversations, highlight shared wisdom. For example, justice, compassion, and unity as the pathways to peace. So in conclusion, because the time constraint, I will just summarize the vision for a just world. A just global system is one where justice is tempered by compassion, diversity is embraced as unity, material progress is guided by spiritual wisdom. It is a system that protects the vulnerable, honors the earth, and uplifts the dignity of every human being, inshallah. So I would like to invite among the speakers, I will have to invite first Professor Yahya Muhalisovich, because he has to leave for the airport. Prof. Yahya, where are you? Prof. Yahya. Okay, there. Okay. He's still there. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for giving me the chance so I could speak earlier. So in order to catch the flight. Thank you very much. I will be very short. I'm sorry that I would not have a chance to speak longer. Definitely we have some problems, and I believe we should be a little bit self-critical about the movement in generally speaking. You are aware, all of you, that circumstances have changed. That ideas, when this movement was founded as a global movement, which later on became a global movement, circumstances were different. So we were living in a colonial times, and the initial writers of this movement were writing about the problems of the days that they were living in, which were the problems of the colonialism. But we are passing through a new stage, new era, and circumstances have slightly changed. Although some problems that Muslims used to face 100 years ago still are here, but definitely we are passing through a period of neo-colonialism. Someone has mentioned the decline of the West. Okay, yeah, I should turn. Okay, now it's fine. So someone mentioned the decline of the West. Yes, West is declining in terms of economic might, maybe in terms of political might, but some ideas and ideologies of West will stay in the Muslim world. Some of those harmful ideas, of course. We are not done with the West. So we are not done with the colonialism that we used to have, but we just have a new phase of the colonialism that we are passing through. We also have the problem of the new types of viruses inside our system. I don't want to mention the name of the countries or mention the name of the political parties, but I can speak of example in Bosnia and in some countries that I'm familiar about, that we have the alternative versions where some countries are financing, with the help of the West, with the help of Israel, are financing parallel structures, parallel systems, parallel political parties, which are just working to divide Muslims. That is their only task. Other problem that we are facing is a wave of secularization that the Muslim world is passing through. This is not new, but I believe it is passing through extreme forms lately. If you just follow what is going on across the Middle East, especially after the Syrian war, especially after the bad experience with the ISIS and all these radical movements that the Muslims faced in the Middle East, there is a new wave of secularization going on. And Muslim political parties that are coming from the political Muslim background or political Islam background are struggling to stay legitimate political forces in those countries because of this wave of the secularization, which is especially present among the young population. I believe that we are losing young population in that sense. Also, there is another problem when the political parties of political Islam come to power. We face the problem of a politicization. They stop being a social movement. They just become political parties, and they just focus on the political dynamics, often with ignoring or not taking enough, not giving enough attention to the social needs of the people. So they stop being a social movements and transform into political parties. I believe that is also one of the major problems that we are passing through, that we are facing, and that we should address. So we should not face the detachment from the ordinary people and the detachment from the social dynamics. So also the game, you're aware of that probably, the game has become more complicated. When I say game, I mean about the geopolitical and the political game that we're passing through. So challenges that we are facing are more sophisticated. So stakes are higher now, especially after the 7th of October, after the Gaza war. So because Gaza has changed the paradigm, but all of us entered a new kind of geopolitical reality, and we should address that. We should talk about it, and we should find the solutions for this new paradigm that the Gaza has created. Also, I believe, since I'm dealing with the geopolitics, I believe that the clash between the Turkey and Israel is inevitable. So it is waiting ahead. It is something that definitely Turkey should deal with, but we should help Turkey to help them how to deal with that problem. So they will need the assistance of the rest of the Muslim world and other Muslim countries as well, because I believe that is the next major clash, geopolitical clash, that Israel will have in the Middle East. When it comes to Bosnia, I'll just shortly summarize, I believe I have 1 or 2 minutes more, what is going on in Bosnia. So without entering into the details, we have this high representative in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which was imposed by the great powers. So he is the executive executive branch of the great powers, of the so-called Peace Implementation Council in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Just 2 years ago, he suspended the constitution for 24 hours and just put to the power, installed to the power, the minority government, and just made the SDA, which I belong to, Party of Democratic Action, party of Ali Izetbegovic, rahmetullahi alayh, his political party, and he just ignored the will of the Bosnian people who voted for the SDA and created the minority government and changed the electoral law and changed the constitution, which is benefiting Serbs and Croats in Bosnia and Herzegovina and harming the Bosniaks, who are actually, for the first time in the modern history, are majority now because of the demographic rise of the Bosniak people. And none of the Western countries did anything about it. They were silent about it. All of them supported, including Russia, although Russia is not a Western country, but even Russia, which was against it, which is part of this Peace Implementation Council, was Turkey, and that is the only Muslim majority country which is inside the Peace Implementation Council. So West and Russia came together to basically eliminate the political powers of the Bosniaks and made them basically a minority, although they are majority in Bosnia at the moment. So we saw there that there is a rise of so-called white Christian West, white Christian Europe, where Russia and West are collaborating on issues when their common enemy is Muslims. They just find this Christian platform as some kind of platform of cooperation against the Muslims. So that's why you have the rise of these populist rightist parties such as Orban's in Europe, such as Le Pen in France, AfD in Germany, so on and so forth. And all of those parties are actually supported by Russia, but not only by Russia, but also by the right-wing politicians inside the United States. And Israel is using this to its own benefit. It is boosting the right fundamentalist Christian political parties in the West because they know that their common ground is the hatred of Muslims. So they're finding some kind of common ground in that, and that is one of the reasons why Israel is, because in long run they believe that they are fighting Turkish influence and the Muslim influence in the Balkans. So they have to be positioned there. They're very strong in Albania, they're very strong, they are becoming very strong in Bosnia, and that is happening with the help of these Christian fundamentalist groups. And lastly, just for a few seconds more, next year we will have elections in Bosnia, inshallah, general elections, and SDA, according to all polls, is leading, and we're going to win these elections, but we have to revive our relations with other Muslim political parties in the Muslim world. So I definitely would like to help in that process. And I believe these relations, for some reason, were detached for the last decade or so, but I believe we will work in reviving them again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Yahya. So now we move on to our next speaker, which is Dr. Hilmi Al-Jazar. Yeah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إخوتي وأخواتي، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أبدأ بأمرين: الشكر أحمل رسالة وتحية. أما الشكر فلقيادة الجماعة الإسلامية ممثلة في أميرها وقادتها، وأما التحية فأحمل لكم تحية نائب المرشد العام للإخوان المسلمين والقائم بأعماله الدكتور صلاح عبد الحق، وكان يتمنى أن يكون بينكم لولا أمور لوجستية وأمور صحية، وأنا يسعدني أن أمثله وأن أمثل جماعة الإخوان المسلمين. ونحن نتحدث عن النظام العالمي العادل، نتذكر شخصا وكتابا. أما الشخص الذي ألف الكتاب فهو الشهيد سيد قطب رحمه الله، وأما الكتاب فهو المستقبل لهذا الدين. قال في كتابه إن المستقبل لهذا الدين ليس فقط لأن العقيدة الصحيحة توحيد الله جاء بها الإسلام، ولكن للنظام الذي جاء به الإسلام، النظام العدل، النظام العادل في العلاقات الإنسانية، في العلاقات الدولية، في العلاقات الاقتصادية، في كافة النواحي. ولذا حينما نتحدث عن الأسس الأخلاقية والروحية في النظام العالمي العادل نتذكر ما جاء في الإسلام في هذا السياق. إن الركيزة الأخلاقية أو الأساس الأخلاقي في الإسلام يشمل عدة معاني. المعنى الأول العدل والإنصاف. يقول الله عز وجل في القرآن الكريم: إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان. المبدأ الثاني التكريم والاحترام، ويقول الله عز وجل: ولقد كرمنا بني آدم. كل بني آدم، مسلمون وغير مسلمين، رجال ونساء، كبار وصغار، ولقد كرمنا بني آدم. وجاءت الشريعة الإسلامية أو القانون الإسلامي ليحمي الضرورات الخمس أو يحافظ على الضرورات الخمس التي هي العقل والنفس والدين والمال والنسل، وكل هذه أمور تتصل بالنواحي الأخلاقية. النقطة الثالثة الأمانة والمسؤولية. لننظر إلى كلام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: لا إيمان لمن لا أمانة له. ويقول: كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. أنني أذكر هذه النصوص لكي أؤكد أن النظام العادل إذا أردناه وجدناه واضحا في مبادئ الإسلام وفي النصوص الإسلامية، وسوف أتحدث بعد قليل عن كيفية تحويل هذه الأمور إلى واقع عملي. النقطة الرابعة في النواحي الأخلاقية الضمير، والضمير هو النفس الداخلية. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: استفت قلبك وإن أفتاك الناس وأفتوك. كذلك الأساس الروحي في الإسلام نجده في قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق، فربط بين العقيدة وبين الأخلاق. ثم ركز على الأخوة الإنسانية، وأركز وأقول مرة أخرى الأخوة الإنسانية التي أشار إليها كثير من المتحدثين. لابد أن ننفتح على الغير وعلى غير المسلمين أيا كانوا. انظروا إلى قول الله سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الناس، كل الناس، إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. أساس في خلق الإنسان أن يتعارف، فهذه هي الأخوة الإنسانية. وأيضا حينما تحدث عن الغاية والوسيلة جعل الأمرين مطلوبين يتفقان مع الأسس الأخلاقية، فلا ميكافيلية الغاية تبرر الوسيلة، لا بد أن تكون الغاية سليمة وكذلك الوسيلة سليمة. فإن الله عز وجل، فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إن الله طيب لا يقبل إلا طيبا. هذا التوضيح كلنا نعرفه، لكن أضعه كأساس لكي أقول إن التوضيح وحده ليس كافيا، لكن لابد أن نطبق هذا التوضيح. كيف نطبقه ونحن حركات إسلامية؟ وهذا موجه إلى كافة الحركات الإسلامية. الحركات الإسلامية إما أنها في الحكم أو خارج الحكم، معظمها طبعا خارج الحكم، فهي تتعامل مع الأحزاب وتتعامل مع المؤسسات وتتعامل مع الحكومات ومع البرلمانات. وأشير إلى ما قيل هنا: لابد أن نفقه وأن نعلم كيف نتعامل مع هذه المؤسسات جميعها لكي نكون واقعيين حينما نعرض عليهم الأسس الأخلاقية والروحية في الإسلام. وأما إذا شاركت الأحزاب والحركات الإسلامية في السلطة فلا بد أن تقدم النموذج. واسمحوا لي هنا أن أذكر بالرحمة الشهيد محمد مرسي رئيس جمهورية مصر الأسبق، الذي تولى الحكم بصناديق الانتخاب وأبعد عن الحكم بانقلاب عسكري كما نعرف جميعا. وأذكر معه 2 من الشباب كان وزيرين في الحكومة، أحدهما كان وزيرا لما يهم الشعب اسمه وزير التموين وهو الدكتور باسم عودة، والآخر وزير الشباب وهو أسامة ياسين، وكلاهما الآن في السجن. ولذا عندي اقتراح أنه تصدر وثيقة ويشكل وفد لكي يتواصل مع النظام المصري. هؤلاء خدموا الشعب المصري، صحيح هناك اختلاف بين من يحكم مصر الآن وبينهم، ولكن مكانهم ليس السجن، مكانهم أن يتذكر لهم ما قدموا لهذا الشعب، وهذه من الأخلاق الأساسية والأخلاق الإسلامية. وإذا كان الحزب في الحكم فهناك نموذج رأيناه في تركيا في تحالف الجمهور. تحالف الجمهور مع حزب العدالة والتنمية، وكان معه أحزاب أخرى وبعض ممثليها كان معنا. حزب العدالة في تركيا وكان معه دولة بهجتي وكان معه الرفاه من جديد. كان هذا نموذج، فأرجو من الحركات الإسلامية والأحزاب الإسلامية حينما تصل الحكم كما كان في تركيا تقدم النموذج الذي يلتف حوله الشعب.
دكتور حلمي، دقيقة واحدة.
وأجعلها لكلمة مهمة أن يكون لقاؤنا هذا لقاء دوريا، وفي كل لقاء دوري نصدر الوثيقة ونشكل وفدا يطبق هذه الوثيقة. أختم بأن لابد أن تكون في وثيقة هذا المؤتمر إشارة إلى ما يحاوله ترامب أو أعلن عنه ترامب من تصنيف جماعة الإخوان المسلمين جماعة إرهابية. كيف تكون هذه الجماعة الإرهابية وقد وصلت إلى السلطة في مصر عن طريق النواحي السلمية؟ أرجو أن تتضمن الوثيقة نداء واضحا بأنه هذا التصنيف تصنيف غير عادل جائر، ولا بد أن نخاطب بعض الحكومات الإسلامية التي يرجى منها يعني أمل في التحرك مثل تركيا، ماليزيا، قطر وباكستان كي تتحرك في هذا الاتجاه. أشكر لكم حسن استماعكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hilmi Al-Jazar, for keeping to the time as well. Now I would like to invite Dr. Muhammad Hussein Isa from Somalia.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بادئ ذي باب، أنا أريد أن أقدم الشكر لجماعة الإسلامية في باكستان على شرف تنظيمها لهذه المنصة التي نرجو أن تكون عالمية وتحمل هم الأمة وهم الإنسانية إلى العالم الجمعاء. وأنا في كلامي سأختصر، وكذلك أنا لي الشرف أن أكون مع هذه الكوكبة الكبيرة من العلماء الأجلاء ومن المؤسسات العالمية التي تعمل لصالح البشرية. إخواني وأخواتي، مهمتنا اليوم أن نستعيد الشهود الحضاري المعنوي الذي تنازلت عنه المنظمات والمؤسسات الغربية العالمية، سواء كانت مرينا بإخواننا في كوسوفو وفي البلغان، وأخيراً رأينا في غزة وما عانت ما عانى الشعب الفلسطيني من اضطهاد، ومع ذلك مع السكوت معظم المؤسسات الدولية والمنظمات الدولية. ولذلك يجب علينا أن نستعيد دورنا كشهود حضاري معنوي، انطلاقا من قوله تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالحق ولو على أنفسكم ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. ولذلك يجب علينا أن نعمل على إحقاق الحق والوقوف مع القضايا الدولية الإنسانية، سواء كانت الإسلامية أو غير إسلامية. يعني هذا هو، لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يحثنا ويحث صحابة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على أن يأخذوا المبادرة كدور ريادي في الشهود. وأنتم تتذكرون النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عندما مرت بجنازة وذكر بعض الصحابة له بالخير قال وجبت، والجنازة الأخرى ذكروا له بعض العيوب وقال وجبت. أنتم شهداء الله في الأرض. شهداء الله في الأرض بمعنى أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في رسالته نقل من هذا الشهود البيني بين المسلمين شهداء الله في الأرض، بمعنى يجب أن يكون لكم حضور وشهود عالمي. وعلى هذا الأساس يمكن أن تكون هذه المنصة وهذا اللقاء منشأ لمنصة عالمية إسلامية تناصر القضايا الإسلامية، يعني تكون International Global Justice Voice، يعني حقيقي تناصر القضايا. بمعنى ينبغي أن نسمع من المنظمات الإسلامية والمؤسسات الإسلامية وهي تناصر ليس قضايا الإسلامية لوحدها، حتى القضايا الشعوب الأخرى غير المسلمة المضطهدة يجب أن نناصر. ولذلك كيف ننشئ هذه المنصة؟ وهي هذه بداية خير على يد الجماعة الإسلامية في باكستان، ونشد على يدها، ويجب على الأقل أن نعمل ما نحقق ذلك. هذه النقطة